After a fire in my apartment building back in August of 2021, I was put up in 2 motels and hotels. First place I was put up in was the Novotel Hotel, and the second one was this place, the Travelodge West on Carling. This is an older hotel. Where this crane is where the tower building of the Travelodge was torn down. Here's what that tower building looked like before it was torn down. And the following are some news segments from 2018 showing the tower building being torn down to make way for new development.
Well, if you're driving along Carling Avenue near the Westgate Mall, you'll see a West End hotel getting demolished. The Talisman, or otherwise known as the Travelodge, is coming down. Last year, the owner of the building filed with the city to have a high-rise complex put in its place, part of a long-term transformation along that stretch of Carling Avenue. There's a public meeting tonight at the Alexander Community Centre on Silver Street in Carlington. It starts at 7 o'clock.
In recent memory, you'll know it as the Travelodge, but before that, it was the Talisman Hotel, a spot like no other, gracing the capital's short-stay landscape. It's now undergoing an overhaul that will see decades of memories torn down with the hopes new ones can be rebuilt. The hotel, which stood on Carling Avenue, was familiar to residents and guests in the capital. CTV's Stefan Keys is on Carling Avenue now, where demolition has already started. Steph.
Graham, the tower behind me is just the first phase. Right now, very little impact because it was sitting empty, but the building beside it will also get knocked down eventually, making way for something new, future homes instead of the hotel. Clawing away at one of Ottawa's iconic landmarks is the same demolition company that did this on the shores of Lake Erie earlier this year. This process not as swift, and for some who appreciate history, seeing it come down brick by brick will be slow and painful.
I'm kind of heartbroken. So you can see how they really...
History buff and artist Andrew King has been digging into the Carling Avenue Hotel's history for years.
There was a huge craze back in the late 50s, early 60s to build these kind of Polynesian-themed lounges with exotic drinks, exotic decor.
Think Mad Men.
Give me old-fashioned.
With a tropical theme. When Ottawa developer the late Bill Tarran designed the Talisman Motor Inn in the 60s, it was a happening spot well known for its tiki bar called the Beachcomber Room, and the place for wedding receptions.
This is a piece of Ottawa's kind of unique culture that I don't think we'll ever see again.
Where it stood, this will be built.
At some point in the life cycle of a building, of a piece of land, this site or this structure just becomes obsolete relative to its value. It's on the front.
Not worth its weight in scraps.
And then that'll be almost 400 units.
You'll eventually see condos and apartments scraping the sky at 20 stories high, coffee shops and other businesses below. Now, if you want to talk timelines, it'll probably only take a few weeks to completely demolish this building, then another few weeks to clean up the site. But the next few months will be spent negotiating with the city, making sure all the permits are in place and the public consultations are done.
We're making way for something that's going to be bigger and better and nicer, and that the community can like.
Permits are being pushed through to help revamp this entire stretch of Carling. We should remind our viewers that Westgate Shopping Centre is slated to have several high-rise buildings go there as well. We just don't know when shovels will be going into the ground, Graham.
All right, CTV Stefan Keys reporting on Carling for us.
So here at 1354 Carling Avenue is where the Talisman Tower stood. It was built when the Talisman Motor Inn was expanded in 1966. The Talisman Motor Inn opened in 1963. Through Ottawa Family Emergency Services, I was able to stay in the older part of the hotel, which was still being used and still intact. Intact and in use, but in physically poor condition. Many of the rooms closed due to water damage. Here in the video, I'm walking towards the distinctive building that once housed the Greenery Restaurant. When I ate at the Greenery Restaurant, I remember eating on this side of the restaurant. Here's a photo of what the Greenery Restaurant looked like back in the days it was operating. This photo is from 1979. And this is a matchbook cover from the Greenery that I purchased off of eBay.
Let's take a look in the window. Yeah, I remember coming in this door when I ate here and eating on this side. There's an office in there. That's got to be the Bassey construction office that's in there now. Yeah, no longer any indication that it was a restaurant. I like these structures here because they still have the Japanese-inspired design. The City of Ottawa has received a site plan application to construct 2 high-rise mixed-use towers, 20 and 22 stories, and an 8-story residential building. Roadway modifications proposed. Let us know what you think.
Here's a little tour of the room I was staying in the hotel, in the older part of the hotel, to get away from the fire damage in my apartment. You could definitely tell that this was an older hotel with some of the wear and tear on some of the walls and around the sink area, etc. Here I am on the outside of the building that I was staying in. The building that still stands. It hasn't been torn down yet for redevelopment of the area. just through the archway or the gateway here and down some steps, it leads to an entryway into the lower level of this building. And in that lower level is access, well, not anymore, used to be access to the Polynesian themed nightclub called the Beachcomber Room. Just as the thematics of the Beachcomber Room were inspired by the South Seas, so too was the architecture inspired by far-off locations. It had inspiration from Japanese architecture. A touch of the exotic in Ottawa. Designed by Bill Tarran.
Over the past 50 years, Bill Tarran has established a reputation as a passionate advocate for quality design and public policy. He is focused on improving both urban and suburban settings with different projects. This includes designing the Greenbelt City of Canada, where he has earned the title as Father of Canada. Mr. Tarran shares a passion for activism, providing innovative solutions for replacing Toronto's Gardiner Expressway and covering the Peripheric Expressway in downtown Paris. In 1970, Bill Tarran's decision to turn over derelict industrial lands in Toronto to the federal government in return for a commitment to create a public park inspired the 1972 announcement of Harbourfront by Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau.
Just past the lobby and past what used to be a dining lounge area is a view onto what remains of the Japanese garden courtyard area. Here's a picture of what it looked like when it was better taken care of. It's an example of some of the unique theming that was at the Talisman Motor Inn, which was surrounded by hotel rooms and this dining lounge area. You can see the stepping stones exposed there. The tops of those stepping stones used to be resting on the water, or looking like they were resting on the water. And there was a garden area surrounding it, more manicured than what you saw there. It's now overgrown. Down these steps in the lobby is a sign that indicates the famous Beachcomber Room. The lower level was blocked off, making the Beachcomber Room inaccessible. The Beachcomber Room was a popular nightclub in Ottawa. It was a ball when swingers, sophisticates, chicks, and cats make the liveliest scene in town every evening at the Talisman. Since there weren't many Polynesian or Hawaiian musical acts in Ottawa or traveling to Ottawa, this was mostly a rock and roll venue. This picture depicts an early incarnation of the Beachcomber Room. And I think later on it looked more like this. As it sits now in the lower level of the Talisman, or the Travelodge now, it's being used as storage and, as far as I know, no longer has the tiki decor, and likely no longer features the 90-foot mural that was in there, painted by Alexander von Svoboda, who was also the art director for a mosaic at Carleton University called The Pilgrimage of Man. I couldn't find any photos of the Beachcomber mural online or anywhere, so if you have information on the Svoboda mural from the Beachcomber Room, let me know in the comments below this video. Those of you who have watched my channel for some time know that I love tiki culture and tiki artifacts and tiki history, and you wouldn't be surprised by knowing that I have a swizzle stick, a stir stick from the Travelodge Beachcomber Room, once known by the better name, I would think, the Talisman Motor Inn, and here it is. You can see this old sign here not only indicates the Greenery Room that we had a look at, but also showed that there's a water park up ahead. And this used to be a courtyard, not unlike the other courtyard with the Japanese garden. This was an outdoor space that we were looking at, which they put a roof on and turned into an indoor water park. Originally, you can see all the rooms on each side of the water park pool. Originally, those were looking into an outdoor courtyard. In this image, you can see the courtyard in 1975 when there was no roof over top and it was an outdoor courtyard, the hotel rooms looking into the courtyard. And on the bottom image here, this other image is how you see it now, except this was in 2017 when the wave pool was still running and the water park was still open for use. I kind of wish I knew it was there because I would have gone. It looks like a fun wave pool and water slide. And that was only back in 2017. It's too bad that this isn't being used and will soon be turned into boring old condos. This water park consisted of a play fountain, a water slide, and a wave pool. I found some video of how it looked when it was open. Once again, thanks for watching Steve's World of Wonders. Bye for now.